Welcome to Let's Grow Buffalo, where today we're doing a seed starting guide on eggplants and peppers. Alright, so you might be asking yourself, why peppers and eggplants? It seems like a weird combination. Well, both of them are actually from the same family, and therefore they have similar growing needs. It's part of the nightshade family, which also includes tomatoes and potatoes as well. But as far as peppers are concerned, they grow in the tropics, meaning that they have a very long, warm growing season. And because of that, they can actually grow as perennials, as opposed to here in the northern hemispheres, we typically have to grow them as annuals. So since we have such a short growing season, we're starting this about 8 weeks before our last frost date for those of you in different areas of the country. This right here is a jalapeno that I'm trying to overwinter, so essentially use it as a perennial, because if I was to leave this outside, it would die. So for those of you who might be more interested in this later in the year, I plan on doing a more in-depth video, but essentially what I was trying to do with this jalapeno is make it go dormant. Just like any tree, like a maple tree in the area, when winter comes, leaves fall off, it might look dead, but come spring it grows new buds, new leaves, and it's alive. Same idea for this. So essentially I dug it up out of the garden, I made sure to clean it, put clean potting soil into this pot, and I essentially put it in the basement where the temperature is not going to freeze, but it's not hot enough and there's not enough light down there to really promote this thing to grow. The leaves have fallen off, and I had to do a little bit of pruning, and I've reduced the water, only water it every couple of weeks now. And essentially that has left us with this dormant plant. So I'm hoping that a few weeks from now I'm going to actually start seeing some life. I'm going to start bringing this out a little bit, and eventually make the transplant into the garden so I can start getting fruit much sooner than last year. Alright, so before we actually start planting this in the dirt, I'm going to give you a quick drawing here. So like I said before, I like to fill my seedling pots about 80% of the way with dirt. You really want to make sure you pack it in at least somewhat tight too, to take care of some of the airspace. I like to plop my seed down on the top and then cover with a little bit of remaining dirt. So for peppers and eggplants, the temperature needs to be hotter. It's a tropical plant and needs tropical temperatures. So you're looking for somewhere between 75 and 80 degrees. It will grow in colder conditions, just not ideally. So I'm going to get my heating pad underneath it, or the seed, the one that's specifically made for seed starting. Raises the ambient temperature a good 10 to 20 degrees depending on the type you get. As that heat starts to rise, it'll start to heat the dirt, heat all the soil around the seed, and then you can also put the humidity dome over top too to keep the moisture in, and that'll actually help trap some of the temperature, the heat too. So best case scenario after about 10 days, worst case scenario if it's not ideal conditions, closer to 21 days, then what you're going to get is the first leaves popping out of the ground. So a lot of plants actually have this kind of oddly shaped starting set of leaves. I'm just going to call it kind of clover looking. And once those pop up, that's when the roots are going to be growing, and they're going to send off roots as it goes down and down, down further. Eventually those two leaves are going to fall off as the plant gets bigger, and you will start getting your first true set of leaves. So once you start to get your first set of true leaves, you typically should lightly fertilize the soil, and then after about a month of actually having the plant, you might need to start potting up. So if you're starting this 8 weeks early, then you're going to have to give the roots more room to grow. If you leave it in a small pot like this, it'll eventually reach the bottom, and then the roots try and find their way elsewhere, and if you start getting this great big ball, it's not really going to help the plant grow. So you pot up, and that main taproot has a lot more room to work with, can send off a lot more branches, Because don't forget, this thing thinks it's outside growing in nature. We're just controlling the environment to help actually grow this in our climate. So anyway, after potting it up, you might need to do it again depending on how long you wait to plant, but we'll get into transplanting a little bit later. Alright, here we are with the seed starting equipment that I got from Burpee. This was part of a 72 pack tray, but what's nice about this one is that it actually comes in 2 halves, so I don't have to plant all 72 or carry around all 72 trays at the same time. They came with these little coconut fiber based pellets, where essentially you just plop it in, add water, and it will start to grow to a size that pretty much fills the cell. I felt like it was a little short on a few of these, so I just got a little bit of my other seed starting tray. Once again, pre-moistened, not pre-soaked. If I squeeze this, it's not going to be like squeezing out a full sponge. But I got that to fill in a few extra trays here too, just so I can get a comparison, see which one I like. So we're going to be planting eggplant here first. This is from Burpee, Black Beauty, so it's a pretty standard style eggplant. We'll have to take a look at Justin's garden as that gets going, because I know he likes to grow several different varieties here. These actually look like little tomato seeds if you get a close enough look. So a couple things, like I already said, generally speaking, you want to plant most seeds about twice the depth of the diameter of the seed itself. And I don't know for a fact that every single one of these is going to be able to sprout into a plant. So what I usually recommend to people is take a couple, maybe even 3 depending on the plant, and drop those in as the seeds start to emerge or don't emerge. You can pick away the weakest one, just leave yourself with the strongest. If you really want to try, you can maybe plant 3 and tease one of them out to get into its own tray, but that's a little dangerous, and most packets come with more seeds than you know what to do with anyway. So the nice thing about the kit that I got from Burpee is that it also has a chart over here, so I'll know where I planted what, and I'll also be able to list the date on there too, so I know later on for maybe like lettuce, if I do succession planting, I'll be able to tell when I started it, so I know when to transplant it. Okay, so let me just sprinkle these eggplant seeds in here. 2, 3. Okay, so that's the eggplant. I'm also going to plant pretty standard sweet pepper. Peppers are super versatile. They're really nice to have in tons of different meals. I'm just planting the sweet peppers for now. I've also got the jalapeno I showed you a minute ago, as well as I'm probably going to plant some other peppers as well. That's kind of the same look. You can tell these things are in the same family just by the way the seeds look. So peppers contain a chemical compound called capsaicin, I think is how it's pronounced, and that's kind of what gives pepper-based plants their hot taste. And it can range anywhere from being, very mild and very tolerable to literally pepper spray / mace. So yeah, you go ahead and pick whatever peppers you're looking for. If you're looking for, a 5-alarm chili, you might want to plant some ghost peppers instead of these ones, which, maybe you're looking to just toss on your Philly cheesesteak or in your salad or something. Alright, so all the seeds are planted. I'm just going to cover them up with a little bit of extra dirt here. And then once I got these all pretty evenly covered, I'll lightly tamp them down. Something else we'll get into a little bit more when we start transplanting is that these are actually, all of these plants, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, they're actually self-pollinators, so when we get them out in the garden, we don't have to worry about necessarily having multiple plants. I'm hoping that out of the 2 eggplants that I have in here, one of them is going to turn out. I like having a backup just in case something happens during the process. I'm not super fond of eggplants, I don't think, at least, but I'm definitely going to give them a try this year. But yeah, you don't need 2 plants to grow fruit like you would with an apple tree, let's say. Alright, so I got the seeds planted, ready to go. Once again, I got to start heating these up under a heating mat, and then I'm going to throw the humidity dome over top here. Keep some of that moisture in. Got to put the rest of the kit together, but outside of that, that's all we got for today. So don't forget that gardening is a practice. Let's grow together and let's grow buffalo.